semi-final, ladies and gentlemen.
Do you want to go or should I start? Go.
Ladies and gentlemen, it is my distinct and unique pleasure to invite you here to Bruges, Belgium, at the tail end of what has been a fantastic weekend, a beautiful Sunday in the early days of May. Where else would you want to be in the world than where you are right now, with us, before the final, the third in a trifecta of excellent competitive games to put the finishing flourish on this magnificent iteration of Tom's tourney. Fighting in the black, the hometown heroes, Freezzzbeezzz, are going to lock horns with the French champions, Tchac. It promises to be a scintillating battle, black versus white. It will be anything but monochrome. I am Lorca Murray, and it is my distinct pleasure to be joined by the infamously informed Ravi Vasudevan.
Yes, Lorcan, and we're going to see a great matchup here. These two teams both won their semifinals on Universe Point, right down to the wire in two epic matches, beating Chevron, and we see a turnover quite early, very different than the semifinals that we saw. Very few errors on offense, but Freezzzbeezzz here, maybe a little nervous for the home crowd. Now Tchac get a chance to break first point.
Trying to defend their home turf. That was Yonkers with the turnover, a pickup from Mooncatchers. Maybe forgetting that he's playing with the Freezzzbeezzz this time around. So here comes the Tchac D-line, Faye with the disc. Looking around, waiting, a little bit isolated, but sprinting down to come and collect it, but it bounces out of his hands as Goulet. So perhaps a little bit shaky for both teams at the start.
I have to say, I commentated the game between Tchac and Freezzzbeezzz in the semifinals. There were almost no turnovers all game, and there was certainly no breaks up until Universe Point. Tchac put a huge power line on, managed to finally get their break on Freezzzbeezzz and win the game on Universe. These are more turnovers in this point almost than the whole game of that semifinal. A little nerves here in front of the crowd.
That is very similar for Freezzzbeezzz, as well as PJ Dumoulin plays it down the line to Yonkers. Yonkers looking for options, and this time makes no mistake with the smooth score to Tavale.
Great stuff. We're going to see a lot of stuff from Tavale, Dumoulin, and Yonkers. Look at those names, because those guys are going to be key cogs for this Freezzzbeezzz offense all day. A lot of people know European Ultimate. They know PJ. Peter Dion Dumoulin usually plays for Free Speed in the international competitions, but he has built his team up, helped to bring them up to the level, qualified them for the World Championships by winning Belgian Nationals last year, and is playing with his home team this time around, and surpassed them as Free Speed got out in semis.
Freezzzbeezzz fell in the semis to Tchac, although that is a moniker the Freezzzbeezzz will also have to wear themselves, as they fell in Universe Point to Tchac yesterday in Power Pools, Ravi.
Interesting stuff, but this is a whole new game, and we see here both teams making a bit of an error, sloppy error on the first point, but I think they'll sharpen up, get used to the crowd, get used to the pressure. Interesting thing, this is the first time Freezzzbeezzz have played in front of such a huge crowd, whereas Tchac got a little bit of experience with that last night. Maybe that'll play a role here.
Very true, and Freezzzbeezzz perhaps not as well versed on the big stage, though they do have a lot of international representation that has delivered the goods for Belgium in the past. So now we are going to see our first look at the delightful, seductive French offense that is led by Espita, a man who will throw damn near anything and plays all the better when there's a crowd. If he's someone to show off to, he plays better. If there are 1,000 people to show off to, one can only assume he plays 1,000 times better. It's going to be exciting.
Here we see Freezzzbeezzz coming out in a sort of junk look, whereas Tchac are going into a split stack with two people on either side of the field. Becker now with the disc on the side.
So now it is back into the middle. Mollet plays it down the pitch. Sokolski gets it back to Espita. A straight dump. Espita springing around to Becker. Becker looks to the middle, decides he doesn't like it. And this zone from Belgium, or at least this kind of poachy defense that they were trying to play, is designed to stop the inside breaks and big around throws. There's a big around throw from Espita, launching it deep to the end zone. Becker underneath it and takes it down emphatically.
I believe that is Sokolski that came down with that one. Sokolski making big plays like that all game in the semifinal, and making one here early on in Tchac's first O-line point. One adjustment they made compared to the showcase game like yesterday, Lorcan, is that they took Mathieu Bosset and put him on the D-line. They were having trouble getting breaks against Chevron, and they realized that they actually have a very good O-line without him. He's one of the best players on their team, but they trust the rest of their offensive players enough to put Bosset on the D-line to try and generate breaks. He had the task of taking on Luca Miglioretto and had a very tough time of it in the semifinal. I'm interested to see what matchup he's going to take here. Probably either Peter Jan de Molenara or Rafael Yonkers, I would guess.
Well, Miglioretto is an incredibly difficult man to shut down. I am very interested to see who they're going to put on de Molinara to try and shut him down.
Beausset is not in on this point. Maybe a bit of injuries, maybe a bit of shaken up, not really ready to play yet, but we'll see if he jumps on later on in this game.
And here come the Freezzzbeezzz. That's a nice setup. Descan to Yonkers. Yonkers looking around, waiting for somebody to get free from him. Eventually sees it in the form of Devale. Like I said, Yonkers, Devale. There's the younger Yonkers. Plays it to his brother. The two Moonwalkers. Going to Worlds with Freezzzbeezzz. Coming to Tom to bring them to the final. That is a beautiful scuba, somehow stolen away. And that's just how PJ works. You put it vaguely in his vicinity and he takes it down. It looked like Gelo had that all day.
There seems to be a call on the play. I don't know exactly what's going on. Maybe a pick? No hand signals, no hand signals. Not really sure what's going on.
So that one's going to go back to de Molinara.
But what a grab there by PJ.
How did he get it? Gelo had his position. He laid out, put his incredibly long arm over Gelo's shoulder and caught the scuba.
Amazing stuff, amazing stuff. And Peter Jan de Molinara was not playing that many points in the semifinal. He actually took a bowling ball to the ankle in February and is nursing it a bit, really wants to be ready for Worlds.
Yeah, that classic ultimate injury, bowling ball to the ankle.
Yeah, that's a thing only PJ could do.
And we're starting again. De Molinara centers it to the middle of the pitch. Dariq gets it to Yonkers. Yonkers to Yonkers. The younger brother with the disc. Searching for something in the end zone, nothing really becoming available straight away. Instead, he's forced to go back to the dump. Descan. And Descan plays it down. That one bobbled ever so slightly. They get at the end, but a huge layout block on the end zone line. Get that out of here.
That is a big play there by number 71, Sullivan Roble for Tchac. He was doing a lot of offensive work in the last game against Freezzzbeezzz. Now he seems to be getting onto the D-line, and you can see why here.
So now, Tchac with another chance, their second chance of the game to get a break. They squandered their first on a throwaway. And that is a tasty little incisive pass. And a big hook going all the way down. Chasing after it, Wallace, but he can't get there in time as Oczynski comes in and steals it away. Immediately gets it to Descan. Swings it around, and we've got a hook going in the opposite direction. Yonkers underneath it. Skies 2! Tchac players! We've got ourselves a war, ladies and gentlemen!
That was ridiculous. First the D by Oczynski, who's one of the Mooncatchers players, and then that pass. It looked good to Yonkers starting out, but Bichon got under it, and Bichon is a beast in the air, but Yonkers going up and ruling the skies here as Freezzzbeezzz get a point on the board.
Bichon and Garros. Garros, no slouch either, but Yonkers just climbing a ladder.
That brings the score up to 2-1 for the Freezzzbeezzz, I believe.
And
still everything on serve.
There's another look at the fantastic grab by de Molinara to take that disc away from the attentions of Gelo.
And here we see the D from Oczynski.
Kablamo.
Oh. That was the D from Roble. Now the big huck. Look at this positioning and then the sky. Look how high he gets, Lorcan. That's a posterized if I've ever seen it.
Oh, that's going to be used in the ad for Tom's Tourney 2019. I can guarantee you that.
Wow, wow, wow. So things are off to a pretty hot start here, Lorcan, as Tchac bring out their O-line for the second time this game.
And after what has been an incredibly warm weekend, things still finding a way to heat up in the closing exchanges. As here comes Espida. And that initial poachy, zone-ish look from Freezzzbeezzz in an attempt to limit the immediate lethality of this Tchac offense. You can see Beausset back there on the O-line. As now they're looking around for options. It's a beautiful play out to Sokolski on the sideline. Trying to get back into the middle. They do it in the form of Espida, a Belgian himself, turning his back on his countrymen in this instance. Nice little bit of back and forth. Moret eventually able to get it to the far sideline. Trying to play it back into the middle. Becke and Espida both there. Espida lashes one. We know that's what he wants to do. Sokolski, can he make it 2 for 2? He does.
That one a bit easier there for Sasha Sokolski. Such a good player, and Espida putting the throws like he likes to do. What a good O-line. I really love the O-line stuff I've been seeing out of Tchac. They were very, very efficient against Chevron last night as well, moving the disc extremely quickly, hitting those big throws from Espida to open things up. But the problem they had against Chevron were some mental mistakes. It was Becker last night that had a couple throwaways and a drop that maybe allowed Chevron to get some breaks. Here you see the throw again into the hands of Sokolski. The question is, they have the movement, they have the players, but can they keep the mental focus throughout this whole game? That is the difference that they need to do.
It was the last game of, it was the 5th game of the day as well, the last game of a Saturday. After 2 long days, it was so close for the majority of it before it slipped away. We've seen their mental fortitude. You've seen it firsthand in their semi-final. I saw the same thing from Freezzzbeezzz. You were saying there weren't many breaks in your semi-final. The semi-final that I watched, Freezzzbeezzz were able to get 1 break, and they did it scoring to win the game and make it 11-10.
We can talk a little bit about more how that last score went later in this broadcast, because it was quite an interesting story. But right now, Freezzzbeezzz are getting their 3rd chance on offense here in Tom's Tourney 2018 Open Division 1 Final.
Looking for options, and of course they go to PJ straight away. Gello has got such a big task to try and shut down that man. Yonkers with the disc. Plays beautifully down the line, but there's a miscommunication. They were almost spared their blushes, but Walast was able to get just enough on it and stop the completion. So now, Tchac with another chance for a break, and Faye once again goes to pick it up. He's got Guillaume in the dump position, looks to him. Can't quite get it off in time. Just about able to get it to the form of Bichon. So now Bichon, looking, waiting, seeing, sending. Goulet has it. Goulet, slow, stuck on that sideline, so they get it off to Gello. And Gello goes for a big leaping inside break, but it's not good enough. Freezzzbeezzz able to steal in and maintain their offense. Chance now for the hold. As Dumoulin working with Yonkers all the way down the pitch. They've got a few options ahead of them. Eventually, they get it into the middle, and there's the break to Yonkers for the score. Nice transition offense to Valle. He's going to be important all game long, as are the 2 Yonker brothers and PJ. They took it on themselves and rushed it.
That's the 2nd time that the Freezzzbeezzz had turned the disc over, and the 2nd time that the Tchac D-line was not able to capitalize. This was a story that was very similar in their semi-final. They got a couple Ds against Freezzzbeezzz, but were never able to capitalize until they brought in a power line and threw in some of their O-line players, the likes of Becker and Sokolski, to be able to finally ratchet in that break. Here we're going to see the D from Walast. I thought it was going to be a catch your D situation where Freezzzbeezzz were going to hold on to it, but all for naught. And now you see the quick movement that the Freezzzbeezzz were able to do after they get the disc back on that huge D. And PJ and the Yonkers brothers, as well as Jonas, there was just no defense there. And they always found the weak spot and the mismatch into space there with the easy throw for the score. 3-2 for the Bees.
So still on hold. 2 turns, like you said, both times able to earn the disc back. Let's see if this Freezzzbeezzz D-line can wrestle possession from Tchac. We'll have to wait a moment as that is going out to the brick mark. Espida playing to the crowd as he is wont to do. And they love him and he loves them.
We do see Bosse out here now on the O-line, so things are changing up. They change stuff up every game, it seems. But we know that he can do it on the D-line and on the O-line. It probably depends on their matchup, and they liked him on O in this game.
Espida walking to the middle. It's the key handler for the Tchac side, certainly this weekend. Bosse gets it right in the middle of the pitch and floats one out perfectly to the end zone. Taken in by Moe comfortably. They made that look easy.
That was incredibly easy. Great horizontal stack offense. One isolated cut in the middle for Bosse, and he immediately gets the continuation off Moret. Perfectly timed, perfectly placed. Freezzzbeezzz had no answer there.
And that is a little bit concerning. They are coughing up the disc, they're getting it back, but they are committing turnovers, whereas right now that Freezzzbeezzz D-line doesn't look like it's slowing down Tchac at all.
Yeah, I totally agree with you there, Lorcan. Here we're going to see just an easy isolated cut to Bosse. Gets the disc, immediately launches to Morer. Great timing. That is a chemistry-laden offensive line. Espida, Bosse, Morer, score.
So let's see if they are able to get the break that they've been searching for. Both times the turnovers that they committed, more careless than they were down to the Freezzzbeezzz being able to wrestle the disc back from them. Maybe they can calm themselves a little bit. And there, the Cacaws, synonymous with Tchac chasing down the pole. A huge layout D, straight out of the gates. Now they've got the short field, looking for options, waiting, taking their time. Hasn't looked dump yet. Beckay tries to make himself available, can't. Instead, they have to go back. Now it waits in the hands of Garros. Huge flick break all the way across to the other side. The man who got the D-Mel. Beckay waiting. He has Garros behind him in the dump position. Looking for somebody to get free. Goes for the dinky little hammer. And I believe that's Mel who got the point for... Sorry. That is, yeah, Mel who got the point for the score. Fantastic stuff.
And what did it take there? It took getting the likes of Becker onto the D-line to be able to score that point. That's a bit concerning that your D-line players aren't able to score it, and it was great presence of mind. There was the layout D there from Bichon. He's a huge presence, but I really like the Freezzzbeezzz immediately. They didn't get down on themselves. They played really intense shutdown D in that end zone, and it took them 3 or 4 passes before Becker finds a little spot for the hammer. You see the D there from Bichon. Great stuff.
Stellar defense.
And here, the hammer from Becker. You see that the defender off of that Tchac receiver comes off to help on that in-cut, and that leaves a spot open for Becker.
And if you can leave spots open for him, he will hit them. A man who's capable of putting a disc in pretty much every square inch of the pitch.
There's the first break of the game. It is now 4-3. This game a bit different than the rest of Tom's tourney. There will be a halftime at either 8 points or 30 minutes, and Tchac will get the disc after that halftime. And the game is 60 minutes, and after 60 minutes, there'll be a cap +2. Freezzzbeezzz is going to have to answer after that first crazy D from Bichon.
Beautiful leading pass, just too far ahead of Yonkers. I thought he had that all day, but instead it drifts outside of his fingertips. And Tchac looking to punish. Faye with the disc, middle of the pitch. Puts it back in, and they're keeping it going very quickly. Goulet goes with a big hammer himself. Taken down, and the boys are rolling. Robles didn't even have to work for it.
Great work there by Robles. That's 2 breaks in a row off of 2, I believe, first throw turnovers from the Freezzzbeezzz. They got to be a little shaken, but at least they were short points so they can still roll their O-line back out there, because one thing about Freezzzbeezzz is that they have a bit of a level difference between their O-line and their D-line, and if they get their O-line guys tired when they need them, that is going to be something very hard for the Freezzzbeezzz. Right now, Tchac took a bit of a lead. I'm curious if Freezzzbeezzz is going to call a timeout here. I see the teams huddling up a bit. I believe they are. After you get broken twice, you need to rest your O-line players, get some confidence. Lorcan, what do you tell Freezzzbeezzz if you're in their huddle?
I tell them exactly what I just saw them tell Discan as he walked down on this near sideline. You could see the frustration. He was the one who committed that turnover, trying to get the disc to Yonkers. He had the, as you can see, a free spike ball being chucked onto the pitch. Somebody's going to get hurt. Robbing a child. That's bad form. But you could see they were just commiserating Discan, saying, don't worry about it, shake it off. You're a huge part of our offense. You can't let this get you down. They are going to have to, I think, draw upon the strength of the crowd. Maybe it's influencing them ever so slightly. They looked fairly strong until those 2 turnovers, one of which was absolutely earned by Bichon, but the other one was just a bit of a careless throwaway.
Got to clean things up, got to clean things up. But we saw in the early points that they can play good offense against the Tchac defense. But in these types of games, going down in a big hole, it makes it really hard, because they're going to have to get a number of breaks off of that Tchac O-line once they get that break. But it's 1 point at a time. First things first, they got to get their hold.
Yeah, first things first, let's score an O-point. It's been a little while. Pull together, don't let the moment drown you. Don't get lost in it. Seize it. Espida is an absolute epitome of that mentality. If you say, oh, there's going to be a little bit of a stage, he will perform. And right now I'm worried maybe Freezzzbeezzz are shrinking a little bit under the ultralight beams of the show pitch.
Well, they do.
Of the final.
They are the hosting team. This is their city. All their family, all their friends are here supporting them, along with 1,000+ Frisbee players here at Tom's tourney. So they got a lot of support. Hopefully they can use that support to get themselves back in this game.
So now coming out of the timeout, a few more cacaws just dappled throughout the audience, as there are a couple of the Tchac faithful chasing this one down. Boris van der Lok centers to Yonkers. And they're deep in their own end zone, looking for options. De Valle working so hard to get free, eventually able to escape the clutches of Garros. Doesn't get too huge of a gainer. De Valle puts that one up in front of Yonkers. It's beautiful leading pass. Yonkers thinks about sending it deep to PJ and doesn't, which is a rare decision. Instead going for the under. He has it. Gello staying as tight to him as he can. Such a difficult challenge. A huge bid from Bichon, but he doesn't get the disc this time. Now they find it in the middle and back to van der Lok. Thinks about the flick break, decides against it. Goes back into the middle. Waiting, gets to Yonkers. And there's just no movement downfield right now from Freezzzbeezzz. Just take their time. De Valle gets it eventually. Able to put it into the middle.
Finally, ref Yonkers gets involved. I was wondering where he was this whole point.
He's looking to stay involved now, working with van der Lok, getting it back immediately. He has PJ directly in front of him, puts it low. PJ responds, bending over to scoop it up. Thinks about maybe throwing the blade. Instead goes for the nice up the line backhand, and that's where Yonkers is, Ravi.
He was hiding a bit. Like you said, they were not getting easy options. Great shutdown cutter defense by Tchac in the beginning sections of that point. But eventually they found Yonkers, and that was able to break open the offense with little give-go movements with PJ and ref Yonkers. So they bring the score to 4-5, and now they need a break. The question is, are they going to throw a power line on yet, or do they still hold on to their traditional D-lines for a bit? What do you do, Lorcan?
Throw one out. Throw one out. Because
Right
there's a
now?
half which you haven't been used to. At least throw one player out. I mean, what have you got left to lose? You've played, I believe, 10 games, perhaps?
Something like
Somewhere
that.
in the region of
It's a
9,
lot of
10 games, especially for Freezzzbeezzz, who had the show game as well. You played so many games. If anybody's got any energy left, now's the time to use it. You cannot go into half down by a break, because that immediately gives the opportunity to Tchac on the offense when they come out in the second half. You need to equalize now. You've got 10 minutes. When the iron is hot, that's when you strike.
Looking out there, they seem to disagree with you, Lorcan. I see a pretty regular Freezzzbeezzz D-line. None of the O-line stars out there right now, right yet. Maybe saving it one more point, but we're going to see what Tchac does on this offensive point.
So now here, Speeda. Can they score within 2 throws as they did the last time? The pull staying in bounds, a big part of that. Allows Freezzzbeezzz to set up that slightly more poachy defense. As Bechet with the disc. Beautifully down to Bosse. Bosse turns around. Was thinking about popping it back to Espida, but couldn't get there in time. Instead, opts to give it to Bechet. Bechet still searching. Sokolski turns to go under, but blocked off very well. Freezzzbeezzz doing a good job of trying to clog up the lanes, limit the options. Ulan. Normally a dump handler has to go downfield, get involved a little bit. Bosse swings it to Bechet. Bechet on the far sideline. He puts a big one up, but the only person back there is number 96. Gets a huge D. Perhaps a little bit unnecessary, as there was no one really that close to him.
That was Bruce Kotzin there with the D, but you saw Sokolski coming and backing that up. I thought he wouldn't get there, but he was great presence of mind for him to get that D, because Sokolski will come down with that if you give him even the slightest inch of a chance.
So, a little bit of a questionable decision. Misread the cut from Sokolski, who turned to go under just as the disc was put up into the air. He really made up a lot of ground.
But the question here is, Lorcan, can this Freezzzbeezzz D-line get a D, get a break now that they have this opportunity? This is a very, very athletic Tchac O-line that also is very good at defense. We'll see here.
Feller starting off with the disc, and immediately they go for the huck. That's how you play defensive offense, just huck it straight away. And the whole crowd was crying out in anticipation, hoping, Sebastian Vetz, you're young, put your body on the line. But unfortunately, he couldn't quite close the distance enough.
We'll see if he can use that saved energy to get a D here, because he's going to have to make up for that. Camera's on, buddy. Go make a play.
This is the thing. Are you going to rise to the occasion? Or are you going to shrink in its light? As right now, Espida walks to the sideline. It's not a bad position to have them pinned into, as we see that split downfield stack. Again from Tchac. And a straightaway a huck to Bosse. How accurate are these throws? So difficult. As now they quickly, Freezzzbeezzz try to scramble and back into defensive coverage. Tchac smooth. Oh, he plays it into the middle. Sokolski. He has the speeder, can't quite get it to him. Instead puts it to Bosse. It goes high, but the man knows how to jump and takes that one down for the score.
That's what you want to do. Put it to Bosse, put it a little high, make sure there's no chance for somebody else to get a sneaky layout D. You know he can get up and get it. Great pass there from Sokolski to Bosse, and Tchac save themselves from their first turnover on their offense of this game. Keep their lead by 2. Score is now 6-4 in favor of the boys from France.
And they looking very comfortable at the second time of asking. I like that look from the Freezzzbeezzz D-line. I don't have any faults with Feller. Like, the throw came a little bit short, dropped out of the sky ever so slightly. But at the end of the day, you've got Vetz. He's very big. You don't want to waste too much time, so you just send it.
You got to be aggressive when you're going to play against this team. If you try and play lots and lots of short passes with that D-line against Tchac's O-line, eventually they're going to come through and get a D. So I totally agree with you there. You got to be aggressive on your offense. They tried it there. They were close. And now that Tchac O-line, if they get it bend, they're going to have to respect that deep option, because they know that they got a little lucky there. And that'll maybe open stuff up later for the rest of this game.
That's an excellent point. Try and get that into their heads, because it's so difficult when you're a D-line. You're not going to touch the disc that much to get that offense going.
How about that pull from Robles?
Absolutely spectacular. So Descamps with the disc has Van der Lok to one side. Instead goes down the middle to Yonkers, who immediately launches that one deep to PJ. That's what you gotta do. Set the big man loose. And you see Tavale working hard, try and get free. And is there going to be a call on that one? I believe there is.
Yeah.
Gouet coming around.
Pretty sure he touched that.
I love going
volley.
for those. I love going for those hand blocks from behind.
I've seen a couple of them be successful this weekend, but that one, I believe, was a strip.
And everybody on the pitch agrees with you. Tavale instead going for the dump. And dropping it back. Swinging around now to Yonkers on the sideline. Goes for the big arcing pass all the way around to his brother. And how about that for a little bit of a familial connection?
There, ref Yonkers showing he can make the throws. He threw that deep one to PJ and threw the side one to his brother. In the other games I've seen him play, he's been traditionally more of a receiver, but now showing that he's dangerous on both sides of the disc.
And you can see Uczynski and the two Yonkers brothers, both from Mooncatchers, on the strong offensive 7 for Freezzzbeezzz, and they're really relying on them, especially the two Yonkers brothers. Very impressed with them.
Absolutely, and they were even bigger when PJ wasn't playing very much. He's nursing that injury, but he doesn't seem to be nursing it all in this game, playing every offensive point so far. He wants to come out and win this tournament. But in previous games where I saw where he was taking a bit off, those Yonkers brothers had to fill in big shoes. Here we see the cross blade from Yonkers to Yonkers. Great play by the boys from Brussels, picking up with Freezzzbeezzz for Worlds.
Raphael to Benjamin. Older brother to younger brother. That's the way it should be.
You think that's the way it should be?
Yeah, the older brother should be the one who throws it a lot. The younger brother should be the one who has to do all the running.
It's actually the opposite. Normally I see Benjamin is in more of a handling role, and Raph is more the cutter. So
very true. And you could see he set up that beautiful hook to PJ with a massive undercut first, which is what you love to see as a coach. I think that's going to land inbounds. Well, just another example of me being wrong.
Almost hit a baby over there, I think. Be careful. Be careful on these sides. That's Tom's turning.
Awful lot of people crowding them, so that is going to be a short field for Tchac.
Where did it go out about?
I think they're going to work it out. Very, very far down. So now, Tchac really getting to pick up a lot of yards here.
Yeah, that's a very unfortunate pull there.
Okay, with Espida in the middle. And Espida immediately starts moving. They know exactly what they want. They want to center that disc, get it off the sideline. Tempts us with the hammer. You know we want it, Moe. Beautiful drop down flick. Sokolski. No one able to get free from him on the open side, so he goes back in the middle. Ulan. And he just kind of flips that one up. Beckey has Espida. Tasty little dish. Sides again, throwing it to Bosse, and those fakes, so believable, so convincing. He could be a lawyer. Moe, right in the front, maybe a little bit of a physical mark, which I know you don't appreciate, but I do.
You do see something a bit interesting here. I overheard Freezzzbeezzz in their huddle saying, we need to force forehand the whole time. And apparently it bothered Espida, because when he gets forced backhand, he loves that IO scoober, and that's one of his favorite throws. If you force him forehand, you don't give him that break option. And they said that is what killed Chevron in their games, what we've seen them do over and over again, so we got to force forehand the whole game.
Which is, I think, personally, a very good decision. Take away one of the things he is absolutely best at.
He has a good hammer, too, though. We'll see if he's going to whip that one out later on in this game.
So now, Moe, front of the end zone. He's got a beautiful inside flick break. Able to hold it. And Espida, there's that scooper we were talking about, but nobody has the heads up to try and go get it. So now, Freezzzbeezzz with the opportunity for a break, and this time they're moving a little bit more fluidly, a little bit more aggression. They're able to get a couple of throws off early, calm down their nerves. Vets with the disc. A little bit relaxed, looking around for some options. Bosse shutting down the downfield choices as they're forced to just keep swinging it back and forth. Lenoir puts that one out. Well taken in by De Rijk. De Rijk, a real leader of this D-line. Decides against taking the incredibly open man. And the second very open man as Espida is having a discussion with him.
Yeah, so De Rijk first put a hand on Espida and then kind of pushed him away with the disc. I do think I understand Espida's call here. I think Espida was in a legal marking position, and it looked like De Rijk was trying to get a bit of extra cushion there. But he is contesting the call.
The Michael Jordan push-off. As De Rijk can get the dump off. Somehow miraculously gets it to the hands of Lenoir. Lenoir thinks about sending it, but I'd really like to see them get 2 quick passes in a row. Try and get some kind of swing into the middle and continue to that break side, because right now they are just jamming it over and over again.
A lot of stagnation. It's only working through the handlers. Tchac is completely shutting down their cutters. De Rijk has been getting open once or twice, but aside from that, A lot of trouble here from this Freezzzbeezzz D-line. The question is, can they punch us in? They need to utilize this opportunity to get themselves back in this game.
And Noir seemed like he was going to huck it. He has to huck it in the end. Oh, he's got a lot of options underneath. And that is a magnificent grab for the break. Jasper Luntiens gets up huge and takes it down.
I thought he had no shot at that disc. I believe it was Abida who was there. I thought he was going to get that disc all day, but he went up big. This is what the Freezzzbeezzz like to do. They believe in their height. They believe in their strength in the air, and showing why here. Getting the break, equalizing the game at 6-6. They are not giving up yet. They want to win this in front of their home crowd.
And you can really feel the spirits rise on the sideline first with that D. You see Lenoir wants to throw the deep. He's like, D, you're right there. You're right there. I'm throwing it. I'm throwing it. I know how tall you are. I train with you. I know you can go get that Lutien. Sky him. And he out-physicals Tchac's O-line.
He gets position and just goes up strong. Great play there. And that's an equalizer, Lorcan. Back to 6-6.
They need another break.
That is true.
They need another break. And the time is 30 minutes, so at the end of this point, we will have half.
Oh, this will be a crucial point then.
So, with tensions rising, time expiring, and a crowd raising their voices, can Tchac silence this hometown? Becquet to Espida. And Espida, Sokolski going deep, decides against it. Devale working tirelessly to try and shut down the options, but you can only stop one. Basset, free on the open side, takes it out. And you can see de Molinari has come down onto this D-line because they recognize how important it is, along with Yonkers. And this is the time. I have called it too early 10 minutes ago. They have waited until now to bring out some of their stars. They get the turn, and you've got to feel fairly confident the Freezzzbeezzz are going to be able to punch this one in.
I mean, they waited until they got their first break because they know they needed two. So they got to, look, our D-line has to do it once. We're not going to win if our O-line's going to have to make all this room up. They got their first break with their D-line. Now some O-line stars out there, and that puts Freezzzbeezzz in a great position right now to see what they can do with de Molinari and Yonkers both on this point. De Molinari-Basset matchup, one to watch.
So de Molinari with the disc, winning it for now. Looking for some options, but this is some great shutdown defense, although there seems to be a call. Rather free in the middle is Uczynski. Although Espida closing that gap. Following the call, gets it down the line to Yonkers. Yonkers looking for options. Goes for the scuba dump to de Molinari. And he just launches one. It's lovely. Ulan's got a big ask, but he does it, reads it better than both of the Belgians, sweeps in and takes it away. Almost a no contest and calls the timeout immediately.
I think if there was one Belgian there, he would have come down with it, but the two Belgians clattered into each other and kind of didn't really call for the disc, didn't trust one another to get it, and eventually Tchac's able to come down with it.
Great work by Ulan, not giving up on that. Tearing straight at the disc, and that moment of indecision between the two Belgians cost them.
And here, get horizontal Bummy going out there with the spike ball set.
Okay, it's time to take Bummy down.
There's one casualty on the field.
That just looks like a recipe for an injury, if you ask me. People are going to get hurt.
So many kids out there. Kids love spike ball, I guess.
I love spike ball. People call me a big kid.
Yeah. But are you going to go chase Bummy out there?
No, I'll just trip him later on. I know where he keeps all the boxes of spike ball.
That's true. It's actually right next to us. We can just grab one if we want.
We just slide that under the table. Be fine. Oh, and he's gone again.
Here.
He is running, ladies and gentlemen. Take him down. Take him
I'd like to give this, take this opportunity to give a big congratulations. Red Bull coming out of Bologna, winning Div 2 in the Open Final, putting in a very impressive performance. Young team, almost entirely made up of Italian under-20, under-17 players. Really impressive, absolutely brilliant. You can see it on the VOD for fanseat.com. The women's final that was just on here, Yaka taking on Iceni, and a result I don't think anyone expected. Maybe a few people would have picked Yaka to win, and those people would have been, you know, justifiably derided. But I don't think anybody would have said they could win so emphatically.
Well, Lorcan, for those of you who like our sounds, you can check out our podcast, Eurozone, ultiworld.com/Eurozone. We talk about European Ultimate on a regular basis throughout the season. We had a prediction contest, and I did pick Yaka to win. I said that Robin Wiseman and Rose Glinka, as well as Paula Boss, was going to make a huge difference for Yaka. I think I got that one, Lorcan.
Yeah, when you're right, Ravi. Not that I'll ever admit it, because you're wrong. As here comes Ulan, starting on his own end zone line, staring into the face of Cones. He gets it back to Beke. Beke sees Moe. And Moe has always been, to me, like a role player, but he has been integral in this final. Very impressed with his play so far this evening. Espida just about able to get that one, despite the attentions of Freezzzbeezzz. Sokolski barely escaping the Valle. Plays it down the line, waiting for it. Moe. And that drop flick is just so precise, so quick. Very difficult to stop. Bosse puts it back into the middle. Ulan, the man who got the D. He has Beke for the swing. Can't quite get there. Well shut down by Freezzzbeezzz. Bosse able to get it back into the middle. A little bit of clogging, although Moe goes deep. Nobody obliges. Espida takes that one one-handed. Who needs to clap catch?
It's the first time I think I've seen Espida go downfield and make a great cut. He can also do it that way as well. Bosse, low pass, gets it for the score. Number 29. That is...
I believe that was Sokolski who
Wow,
got the catch.
Sokolski, sorry, 28.
And that is halftime, a critical score. Brings it to 7-6, and Tchac will be starting with possession in the second half. Would you be satisfied if you were Tchac right now?
I'd be pretty satisfied if I was Tchac. They're making a few mistakes on offense, but still being able to get it back. They got broken once compared to the 2 breaks that they got on the Freezzzbeezzz. Playing pretty well against a strong team. Freezzzbeezzz are having to go up huge for a lot of these scores, which means that they're putting a lot of pressure on, and they know if they get a lot of their top guys on there, they might win some of those aerial battles, but the aerial battle is going to Freezzzbeezzz right now. Overall, a tactical battle, I'd say, is going to Tchac.
That's a fair assessment. Do you think there's any adjustments that Freezzzbeezzz could make?
I don't think so. I think their game plan is working out pretty well. They need to keep throwing those aggressive shots. That's how they're going to win this game. It's working out sometimes, not working out every time. They have to hope. Just put a little more focus on that throw, put a little more float in the right place, trust each other a bit more, and that's about it. I think that this is still anyone's game, Lorcan, anyone's game.
I think they need to just send it deep to PJ every single time, because I feel like that would probably work.
The thing is that I believe that they're going to be backing, and the thing is, if they back PJ, what they should do is get PJ under him. He should huck it to Yonkers. Those are their 2 options. Oh, look at the speed on the red skirt. Crushed everybody for that spike ball set.
No one else was even close. Nice little physical display, and now there's going to be some boys trying to get it done.
The under 14, under 14.
This is a nice, fun little event at halftime.
That guy without the shirt looks a little over 14. Looks a little different than the rest of these people.
A couple of the Freezzzbeezzz trying to get involved.
And your left hand in the air. Your left hand in the air, okay? Okay? 3, 2, 1, go!
Oh, that kid cheated.
He's getting a bit of boos from the crowd there.
If that is an adult, then that is incredibly bad form, and those are deserved boos.
Look, Bummy's coming down the sideline, taking it to the actual winner here. There he goes.
Justice is served. So now, the second half about to kick off. Freezzzbeezzz will be sending this down, and they've returned to their original D-line for the most part.
Adding Yonkers, though.
Adding Yonkers just for that little bit of extra security.
Uchinsky's out there as well.
They're going to have to get the disc off them
very, very close to getting some Ds on Espida, but Espida, just lots of laser-sharp focus to be able to grab that with the pressure that Uchinsky's putting on them. Espida has played in Belgium before. He played on the Belgian national team in 2016, the World Championships in London, so he knows a lot of these top players as well, and he's definitely wants to win it. He told me yesterday after the Chevron game that they lost by a few points. That was just the show. We'll show you what we really got tomorrow.
So they're showing, he's certainly showing us what he's got. Although I wouldn't mind a couple more scoobers, and maybe his cutters actually expect them. Beke gives that one to Espida. The man in charge, in front. Plays that one comfortably to Sokolski. Able to take it in. Pops that one, a little bit of float. But Mole has time to go get it. And immediately he takes off again. Abida now at the disc, gives it to Bosse. And he just plays that one out in front of Sokolski, and despite the best efforts of Uchinsky laying out, he can't get there in time.
Great play there by Tchac. This is really their strong, that was a really strong O-line. They knew they had to get this point, keep themselves in a cushion of a lead. They got their 2-point lead back. Now they're up 8-6 because of that halftime, and just great play all around. I loved what I saw from Sokolski, loved what I saw from Becker, loved what I saw from Speeder. Just an all-around team offense at that point.
And you see, even with Achinski laying out, that throw from Bosse was perfect, where only Sokolski could get it.
Great stuff,
Full
great
speed.
stuff from the French. Interesting thing about Tchac, Lorcan, they do not have Quentin Bonneau and Stéphane Bonneau. They have two players that play in the AUDL in Montreal that will be joining them from Worlds. I still haven't been able to hear if they're going to come for the windmill or not, but these, look how well Tchac is doing even without those two star players. They're going to be a force to be reckoned with when they get to Cincinnati.
Be very interesting to see how they match up, because we know that a lot of those other teams, the Australians, the Americans, the Canadians, they just like to get a little bit more physical than we do here in Europe. So that'll be an exciting clash of styles as Yonkers with the disc, middle of the pitch. Looking for an undercut. DeValle goes to give him one. Turns out when he realizes he's not going to get there in time, and they're forced to dump it back. So there's a pick call. So Freezzzbeezzz.
Got a note here, the man with the disc, Boris Vandelok, one of the tournament directors of Tom's Tourney, running things, helping us out a lot this weekend, and getting work done on the field.
I have no idea how he does it. Where he finds the time as de Molinara has it, pops it back into the middle. Descan back to de Molinara.
Oh, Jonas wanted it down there.
This is a nice little bit of play. DeValle, he has Yonkers in front of him, decides against it. Maybe try to get it off the sideline. Descan just goes straight down, and a lovely inside break to PJ, who puts up a lovely floating backhand all the way to that corner and taken in from Yonkers. That's a response.
Wow, wow, wow. Two really good inside breaks. PJ's extremely impressive, and Yonkers able, under the pressure, Bichon to toe that line, catch that disc up high. Great play there from the Bees. Bringing the game back to within one. The score now 8-7 in favor of Tchac.
But like you were saying, Ravi, the virtue of starting the second half with possession has returned the two-break lead. So now, even with that score, they're going to need to break them twice in a row to get back into a commanding position in this game. As here we see de Molinara, he can do it all. Like you were saying, if they're just going to back him so they won't let him go deep without having multiple players cover him, he's going to come under and put discs like that to Yonkers.
And that's the great, that's the key, right? We know he's a good thrower. We've seen him on free speed take that role where if they back him, he can huck to somebody. He needs a target, which he had on free speed, and on Freezzzbeezzz, his target here is Yonkers. That allows him to play on both sides of the disc, and that is allowing Freezzzbeezzz to get some of these scores.
Being absolutely massive for the Freezzzbeezzz O-line. So, they've gotten a break. We know they can do it. As there goes up the huge pull out of the hands of De Rijk. Waiting underneath it, as he so frequently does, Beche into Espida. They know what they like to do right at the start. Lots of space in front of Espida, waiting for somebody to get free, and it's Moe. Indispensable in this final. And again with that beautiful low release flick. So clean. Sokolski plays that down the line. And Tchac, Abida with the disc, pops it back into Sokolski. Immediately swings it to Bosse, and they keep it going all the way around to the opposite side of the pitch. Lots and lots of breaks. Moe then goes for the pop. Abida's underneath it, and he takes it down for the score. Nothing De Rijk could do but watch.
And Tchac hold on to their 2-point lead there. Great movement, great offense. Abida and Moret and Sokolski running the show, each taking turns getting isolated in that space, each getting open and free, and each moving the disc around, eventually popping that disc in for the score. Great stuff from Tchac.
Doing a really good job of making it to the break side with bodies, with swing passes, lots of cutting. 4 different short passes to 4 different players. Got it all the way over there and set up that easy assist. As here we have another look at it. Bosse immediately pops it to Mole. And just waits. Break side, break side, break side, break side.
I mean, we talked before, I remember when we did the EUCF last year about complete O-lines. We're really happy with Fab's O-line, we're really happy with Forward's O-line, that they really have distinguished roles and each player does it really well. I have to say, I'm extremely impressed with Tchac's O-line right now. They have different roles, they have great handlers that utilize the handler space excellently in Espida, Becker, and sometimes Bosser comes back there, also Houlon, and then amazing cutters getting open. All of them isolated in space, so you never know which one is the one that's going to go there. It's not just one man. Great stuff from Tchac.
So Yonkers receives it from Tchac. And now Yonkers looking, puts it into the middle. Becker trying to creep across and maybe get a sneaky little D. As there goes the hook. Diwali's chasing it down and speeding all the time. It's going to need a hell of a bit and gets one! The crowd goes wild! Looked like he was going to have to run to the Netherlands to pick that disc up.
Wow, wow, wow.
Back
what
corner.
A grab there from Diwali. Jonas, the man from Bruges, doing it in front of his home crowd. Do you think he would have caught that if there wasn't a crowd?
No, I think if we're playing this at windmill, he lets that go out the back. I just think sometimes the stars align.
Amazing putting that back corner. Made him do some work, but you know, gives us a bit of a show to watch, Lorcan. That's always
that'll
fun.
energize your team. As here we have another look.
An inside backhand as Becker lays out to try and put something on it. All alone, tracking it down. Goes out, right hand. And he is inbounds. Gets his lower body in first. His upper body, if his legs had lifted up and his upper body hit the ground, I think he would have hit the line, but his lower body hit first. Inbounds, score now 9-7, Tchac still with a 2-point lead.
We actually saw a slight inversion of that in the Div 2 final. The fantastic layout grab, but unfortunately, the Red Bulls player's hand touched the ground out of bounds first, despite his feet being in. So now, Tchac, Becher with the disc. Freezzzbeezzz still searching for those breaks. Sokolski collects it, twisting in the air, so he can survey his options. Bosse, he has an isolation downfield with a beta, decides against it, goes back to Becker. Becker sprinting forward Moray, but he gets cut off by Espida, and Espida apologizes as he realizes that that dump pass cut off the under. Sokolski, middle of the pitch, Bosse tries to get free with a single cut. And in fairness to him, pretty much does. Becker now with the disc. Still looking, Moy, still running constantly. I don't think he's stopped at a single point. And there's Sokolski for the score. So difficult when they just don't stop moving.
Sokolski just rapid there, powerful feet. A combination of that amount of power and speed with quick disc movement is such a hard thing to stop, and Freezzzbeezzz don't really have an answer here.
And I think it comes down to that system you're talking about. They have very defined roles. They know exactly what they're doing. Mentally, they are prepared, locked in when they go out into that pitch, and they are just executing perfectly right now.
That's why I will be curious how they're going to use, here we're going to see that excellent give-go play. I'll be curious how they are going to use the big gunslinging stars from the AUDL, if they're going to put them in the O-line or maybe try and get them on that D-line, because they have so much chemistry right now and those AUDL players are not going to train with them. If this O-line can stay together with this chemistry and bring them on the D-line to get some more breaks, maybe that's what they'll need to have success in Cincinnati.
Right now, I don't think there's much you want to change about the Tchac O-line. As Yonkers waits underneath it from the high floaty pull. Collects it, Bichon on him. Nice little scooper fake, trying to dislodge Bichon's force. Gets it to his brother, Yonkers. And back across to Benjamin.
It's the Yonkers show so far.
And to Molinara with a little bit of hometown representation. Lovely pass down to Diwali, the man with that huge layout grab in the back corner on the previous offensive hold. Waiting for PJ to go deep and then just floats that one out for Benjamin Yonkers to come back and collect. And there's a beautiful scooper. It's all PJ and the Yonkers brothers right now as Boris van der Lok comes and gets involved. Spreads that one out wide. Nicely done. Well taken in by Oczynski. Oczynski gets that down the line to Yonkers again. Ref. The older looking still with disc in hand. Stall count has to be getting high. Eventually gets back to PJ, who's basically been a dump handler for this point. Not where I'd be accustomed to seeing him. And he gets it into the front corner to Oczynski despite the defensive pressure from Tchac.
Great work from Oczynski there on that point. He was very key to getting everything opened up. After you were saying Yonkers and PJ doing lots of work, but it was Oczynski, I think, that finally gave them that space to get that final score. Good stuff from the other Mooncatcher pickup, Oczynski.
And the Mooncatcher pickup really showing their prowess for this Freezzzbeezzz team.
The Mooncatchers were crushed that they did not qualify for the World Championships. They lost in the semifinals to Jet Set at the Belgian Nationals last year, as here we see Yonkers, one of the Mooncatchers, doing some work. So some of those Mooncatchers went and joined the Freezzzbeezzz for Worlds. Some of those Mooncatchers went and joined Is No Good for Worlds. And 2 weeks ago, the Mooncatchers were told that they actually are invited to Worlds. The Polish team, Girls Stay Home, has opted to decline their bid. And we have heard that the Mooncatchers on this Freezzzbeezzz team are staying committed to Freezzzbeezzz. They are not going to leave them. And as for the rest of the Mooncatchers pickups, we will have to see.
It will be very interesting to see how that goes. Maybe a little bit of scandal in the ultimate world here in Europe Right now, it's all ecstasy watching this fantastic game and a beautiful afternoon here in Bruges. Espida faking, moving around the force before getting it to Beret. And you can see here a slightly different zone look from Freezzzbeezzz, trying to stymie Tchac somewhat, but like if you're going to give Espida that much space, he's going to throw whatever he wants, wherever he wants.
Yeah, that's the problem. I like doing a different look, but with still conditions like this and Espida on the disc, it's really hard to throw his effective zone because he's going to find the weak spot and put it into that space. And Becker as well.
So there is a pick call. A little bit of discussion about whether or not Mollet was in a position to get the disc without the pick. And they're just going to discuss that. I did like the transition just as they came up to the halfway line. Freezzzbeezzz, just as we were decrying their zone choice, switching to man.
I believe they are discussing whether or not this had an effect on the play. Morer saying there might have been a pick, but I don't think you had a bid on this disc, but that is up for the Belgians to decide whether or not normally a pick brings the disc back. Unless they say that it absolutely didn't affect my play.
So it's the Reich, number 5, currently having the discussion.
His teammates telling him, look, you weren't going to get a D on that disc. He was wide open. Just give it to him.
And he's having a hell of a time trying to shut down Mollet.
It's not an easy task.
I think he might be playing his best game of the tournament in the final right now, Mollet.
Moret was also really, really good in the semifinal, but I agree with you. He's playing extremely well here.
Beckay centers it to Espida. Espida, I know what I want. And he goes for the easy under to Sokolski. Sokolski's just such a good cutter. I wish he wasn't so good, so maybe Espida would have to get a bit more outlandish. Huge layout bid, but surely there's going to be no call. Clean as a whistle. Mollet and Delika going to war.
And there we go. Freezzzbeezzz here with the chance for that first break they're going to need, 1 of 2, to get back in this game. Let's see if their D-line offense can do it. They don't have any offensive stars right now. It's going to have to be the depth.
That's something that we have been waiting to see. It's been a big question. Can Freezzzbeezzz D-line get it done? The one break they have came from that D-line. A huge arcing pass all the way up. Ulan's underneath it. He stopped it last time, but this time he can't do anything but watch. Comfortably taken in by Benjamin Yonkers. Wait.
That was Tim Desmet with the disc. Benjamin Yonkers, they're both number 12 here. This is Tim Desmet with the actual Freezzzbeezzz jersey, making work. Apologies to Yonkers in the first game that I called. I kept calling him Desmet because that's how I had his number 12. But Desmet there, earning a spot on the live stream, getting a huge play, equalizing the game here, 10 apiece for Freezzzbeezzz and Tchac. That's a huge point because, like we said, none of their offensive stars were out there. Their D-line got it done with a huge play by Desmet.
And I couldn't be happier for Freezzzbeezzz. They have 2 breaks in this game, crucial breaks, both of which were provided for by their original D-line.
Here we see the D here from Derek. Huge play to open that play up, and I can't wait to watch the replay. Here comes the Huck. First that upline pass.
Nice, comfortable. A little bit trapped on the sideline. And again, you see they're not really getting off it. So rather than waste any time trying to swing it back into the middle, they go for all the marbles. And Sebastian Vetz, confidence belying his age. And the crowd raises its voice as Bruges raises their hopes. And that just carries a little bit too far. Maybe the crowd got a bit too loud, psyched up their defensive heroes a bit too much.
You think the voices carried that distance?
I think maybe it carried them a smidge too far. So now Espida gets to walk up, and he is so dangerous from this brick mark. The last time that Tchac had a brick, they scored within 2 passes. And you can see once again they return to that split horizontal stack.
It looks like they're isolating Bosset in the middle of the field here, trying to give him all the room he needs. That's what it looks like. We'll see if they change things up. We have Yonkers defending Bosset. I like that matchup.
Jumping back and forth, juking around. Bosset eventually able to get up, kicking up dust. Launches that one deep to Beckay. Couple of Belgians coming in to try and sneak it, but can't get there in time. And once again, a brick leads to a 2-pass offense for Tchac.
Usually it's the other way around, Beckay to Bosser, but they're showing, yeah, if you're going to give us that under, give me that deep. They can do it both sides. That's good. That will open up options later on so that they know that these are not just one-trick ponies. They have to respect them in both directions, and that opens them up in their A-game as well.
And this is what makes Bosset such a valuable mid. He can get free. Yonkers is a very good defender. He did about 3-4 different fakes before finally being able to get a slight bit of separation. And once he gets it, his throws are pristine.
And that takedown by Becker, going up strong with his left hand, taking that there were some Bruges players clustering around trying to make a play, but he takes it down strong. No question there. The crowd was going wild when the disc went up, and it went silent when he caught that disc.
Call that one bit of a silencer on the people who have traveled out to the pitches from Bruges to cheer on their Freezzzbeezzz.
Score is now 11-10 with Tchac in the lead. The Freezzzbeezzz are going to still need another break, but it's going to start here with a hold as we see them bring their O-line up on the field.
As Yonkers scoops down to pick it up. And Freezzzbeezzz may be taking a page out of Tchac's book, opening up with the same setup on offense. Look at how aggressive that force is from Goulet. De Valle looking for options, gets one into Tchac. Gets it down the line to him. And he immediately launches that one deep. Yonkers is underneath it. Will he have enough space? No, too much muscle on the throw.
Unfortunate, and the Freezzzbeezzz O-line is going to have to play D here. If Tchac can get this break, they'll get themselves back in that comfortable cushion they had before. Come back in this second half. We'll see what the Tchac O-line, D-line's offense can do here. They're going into that split stack, isolating Wolosk in the middle, but he is guarded by PJ.
So here we wait, see what the Tchac D-line can do. They get it down. It's been a while since they've had a touch of the disc. Chevalier looking to the middle. Brilliant, tireless dump cutting from Garot. Gets him free. Love the hat as well. Substance and style from the Frenchman as he centers it into the middle. And his, well, to be perfectly fair, his incredibly dirty teammate Bichon, showing you just how much he has been laying out. A big arcing pass over the top. And for a moment, it looked like it had been misread and was destined to fall into Chevalier's hands, but he drops it. A little bit of a bobble, couldn't read it.
Zereika there putting just enough pressure to get that disc back for Freezzzbeezzz, and Freezzzbeezzz getting another chance here with their O-line.
Getting away with that one ever so slightly, I believe.
But I think Bichon, that was a high stall count bailout throw. Bichon's bailout throws are usually pretty good.
Honestly, I didn't even recognize it was a bailout throw.
Yeah,
it's just, no, that's something
I saw him
does.
I saw him look off a few dump options. I think the dump defense was covered there completely by the Freezzzbeezzz and had to put that one out there. But
Decant, front corner, and there's 5 minutes left in time.
5 minutes.
Decant to Yonkers. And a beautiful, nope, there's going to be a bit of talk. Roble, I thought maybe he got the layout on it, but Yonkers is saying, no, you fouled me as I went to throw the disc. And this is a critical call.
Let's see if we can see that on the replay here. Here, Yonkers with the disc. To me, that
it happens
I think
very
that
quickly.
Contact happened after he lost the disc, but it is a. I'm not sure if it's contested or not contested.
It's uncontested, as Rob Lake seemed to be holding up as 0. A bit too eager to start playing. A couple of chuckles coming from the stack. Wolosk has to somehow find a way to shut down Dumoulin-Aua. Decant has it in the middle of the pitch. Looking around, Doraika makes himself available, but not enough to satisfy Decant. And a huge layout bid from Wolosk, but not enough to stop PJ getting the disc. Determined, Decant. And it was a beautiful break as well as he was running out of time. You see Yonkers, Benjamin, leading his brother to the sideline. Raf Yonkers back in. And that brotherly love in full display. Decant. Look around, he has Derek coming on the break side and then sweeping across, but doesn't like it. Pops it in the middle to Yonkers. And there it goes, swinging it all the way around. A fantastic cut in the end zone from his older brother. And you're right, earlier on it was the older to the younger, now the younger to the older. Either way, they can do it.
11-11, this game is still tight. It's still going to come down to mental fortitude here, Lorcan. Can both these teams stay strong, keep their offensive holds, or is one of them going to falter mentally and make a mistake? That can be the difference in these hot games. I'm curious here. Tchac has been very mentally strong this game. Very few errors, very few unforced errors here as we see the Freezzzbeezzz offense, point after point, pass after pass, playing extremely well this game.
So this is Decant popping it through to Yonkers. Beautiful up the line cut.
One thing I would have liked to see there is you see Dereika's defender come and try and take Yonkers, and he didn't like run deep and try to punish that. That happened twice that point, and you need to recognize that and put yourself into a big option. I think he's not one of the big players like the Yonkers, so he's maybe a bit scared to take that responsibility, and that's allowing Tchac to put more pressure on defense. I would like to see that change later on in this game. But right now, we will see the Tchac O-line get out there and see if Freezzzbeezzz can force them into another mistake, or if they're just going to score it nice and easy.
It depends entirely, I think, on the pull, because if it's another brick, they're just so confident with their set plays. Now that took a lot of guts. Moe catching it, not even normally playing as a handler, but coming back to do it now.
So we see Freezzzbeezzz coming out in that zone again.
Moe with a high release backhand to Espida, really getting to show off his full repertoire in this game. And they dump it to Beche. Beche out wide, waiting for it. Abida gives it to Espida. And hopefully now Espida, because he's playing against his own, he has the space, is going to do something rather special. You know he's thinking about it. And the stall count getting high, but in the end, bit of a mental lapse downfield by the wing, allowing Abida to come back in and get the easy score, or sorry, the easy pass. Back to Beche. Beche to Espida. And now the change has been made to man as he chases it down. And Moe, after we've been singing his praises, goes out of tune and drops that one.
That was just a bit too casual going up with that with that right hand. I would have gone for that with the left hand. I think we would have had a better shot at it. But as it is, giving Freezzzbeezzz a chance to get a break, and this will be a Freezzzbeezzz lead if they can do this. I believe the first time they would have led all game, but it takes the D-line some work here. Let's see if they can, Lorcan.
Technically, they were in the lead for 0 seconds in their semi-final. And unfortunately, that one just a little bit too eager, trying to force it downfield as it comes out of the hands. We saw Luntians.
1 minute left in the
expected
game.
him to be on the other side of that.
When time runs out, there's going to be a finish the point cap +2 on this game.
So this isn't the worst place for the disc to have wound up. Freezzzbeezzz can use their cup, try and trap them, although there's few men I can think of in Europe that I'd rather have in this position than Espida. And there you go, that's why. There's a little bit of a breeze, but just so casual. And Moe going for the big bladey flick. Unperturbed by the earlier drop. Now Ulan, conservative. I'm a huge fan of Ulan. He's not one of the stars, he's not so much of a standout player, he just does everything right. Moe, thinking about going deep, decides against it. Ulan is completely free directly in front of him, just holds out his hand saying, throw me the disc. Collects it, Bosse. Trying to squirm his way free. A big layout comes up empty as Beche collects the disc. And the crowd shouting. Trying to raise the Freezzzbeezzz. Bosse gets it. Abida comes under. Clears out. Moe makes sure this time. He's at the scene of the crime. Looking to rectify his mistakes. Goes with the pass to Espida. Now Espida with a big hammer, and Bosse's underneath it and takes it for the score. And you can just tell when they score as the crowd is silenced once more.
That makes it 12-11. Tchac holding on to their lead. That deep look looked so good, Lorcan. The throw just a little too far for the Freezzzbeezzz on that break opportunity. If they had completed that, that would have been their first lead of the game. We're just being told here that the game is now to 14. The cap has gone on in that point. So game is to 14. Tchac up 12-11. Freezzzbeezzz need a break to win, but it's going to have to start with a strong hold here. And you see them bringing out 3 Moons in Oczynski and the 2 Yonkers, Boris van der Look. We got Pieter Jan de Molenara bringing out the strong O-line. They know that these holds are crucial. They're not going to take any chances.
Freezzzbeezzz, they played the final in Tom Stormy in 1992, and that was the first edition.
So this is Freezzzbeezz's first appearance in the final since
the first edition.
First Tom's Tourney back in 1992. It's the 26th year of Tom's Tourney. It's a historic tournament here in Europe. It's my first visit, and I have loved every second. Anybody watching at home, definitely advise you make this trip. A brilliant time in a beautiful country, and hopefully the weather's this nice when you're here as well. As now, Descamps waits for it. He has Yonkers. Says he's going. That was a tough grab, but well taken by Oczynski. And sweeping that one to the older Yonker brother. As he searches, gets it down the line to Descamps. And they really like being on this sideline, the Freezzzbeezzz offense. He thought about sending that one to Yonkers, besides against the stall count surely getting high as Gallo trying to ratchet up the pressure.
Uncontested foul there. He's going to get his stall count reset. Big, important position for Freezzzbeezzz to get that stall again.
So now Descamps with a full 10 seconds, although he is rapidly running out of them. Eventually able to get the pass off to PJ. And de Molenara feeds that one fantastically. A big bit isn't enough to stop Yonkers from collecting the score. Although credit where credit is due, that was a hell of an effort from Sullivan Roble.
It is now 12-12, game to 14. A maximum of 3 points left in this tournament, Lorcan.
Oh, that makes me kind of sad.
Yeah.
It also makes me just a little bit tense, and if I'm feeling it here, Avi, do you think they're feeling it on the line?
No, I think they're fine. It's just
calm,
it's
casual.
fine.
It's fine.
Nothing.
Only a final.
Nothing for him. Just a final. No, I think it's going to be an incredibly intense last couple points here. If you are Freezzzbeezzz, do you throw out the power line now and just put them on for the next 3 points? Do you throw your regular D-line out there who have gotten a couple breaks?
I mean, I would think power line, but you're absolutely right. The regular D-line is the one who's generated the turns. The regular D-line is the one who's cashed it in. They've only gone power line once before. So, and that was right before half. I still think you got to go a little bit power line. I mean, there's nothing wrong with having a Yonkers on.
You let the D-line go on, get your power line on for the last 2 points of the game, and get them rested and try and win it that way. This is tough stuff, Lorcan.
Now, because what happens if they score this point? You're in sudden death. Although I suppose it's a training tournament, the idea is that your D-line should be able to live up to these moments. I think they've earned their shot. Give the D-line one more try, and if it doesn't work, trust your O-line to bring it to universe.
A timeout was called by one of these teams. Looks like Freezzzbeezzz is trying to rest. I do expect we'll see some powerful players coming out on this line here.
You got to give credit to that D-line, and specifically on that D-line, Luntien, who I've been very impressed with, as well as Sebastian Vetz, who I'm a big fan of from beforehand. Young player, absolutely fantastic. They've got some big bodies, not without their charm.
One thing I haven't seen too much from yet in this game, but had some big defensive plays in the last game, was from another Mooncatchers pickup, Arthur Feller, number 36. I'll see if maybe he can pick things up and make a play in these last 2 points, because he made a couple against Freezzzbeezzz.
And as we can see there, De Valle, De Molinari, both stepping on. Yonkers, I can see Raf.
Looks like they took your strategy, Lorcan, there, putting on the power line
Just do it now. You've only got 3 points left in the whole tournament, maximum, and minimum of 2. So why not? When else are you going to do it? Well, you got a lot of Frisbee to play tomorrow?
And here we go. Here we go. The energy is high. Great pull. Back of the end zone.
They've been looking for those kind of pulls all game. They finally get one at the crucial stage, although absolutely no one out there on the far sideline. Huge hook to Sokolski. How is no one marking either of those two players? Down it comes. Huge D. Absolutely massive athletic play by Robin De Sutter.
Robin De Sutter, another player who hasn't made too many plays yet this game, but coming up when his team needs him. Big player for Freezzzbeezzz, and now they have a powerful line. Can they get the lead for the first time in this game, Lorcan?
Popping it over the top, and there's De Molinari being marked by Bosse. And he immediately commits on that first throw. Yonkers collects it. My word, these Yonker brothers are fantastic. But there, as soon as I say it, he throws it away, and Espita with the presence of mind to call a timeout.
Wow, Bosse, great heads up. Quick reaction there, catching that block basically 1 meter away from the throw. That is a pity. It looked like they were looking so strong on that point, Lorcan. It looked like they were going to be able to get that final elusive break to take that lead. But now, Tchac, what do you think of that timeout call?
Well, first off, I question whether or not it's legit. And here we see that big hug. I thought Sokolski, so much separation, nobody near him. But look at DeRuiter just make up that distance, get in position, and take it away.
Great play there by DeRuiter.
Slamming the door shut.
What do you mean by it's not legit? I do believe, I was told for the final they get 1 timeout per half. And I don't think the cap affects anything because they're not trying to not delay for the next round or anything like that.
I suppose the brutal efficiency with which this tournament is run is not so necessary anymore.
I think some of those players don't really understand. Oh, whoa, 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 whoa.
So this idea of giving out swag, working out, kind of, get horizontal, showing their charity, but every now and again just a couple of fights happening, and maybe some of the adults coming and getting involved. Oh, and there you go. Inevitably, a kid was going to take a hit.
Yes, Bommy. I'm betting that kid's going to get a spike ball set, though.
He's just giving them away. So, timeout over. Espita with the disc, middle of the pitch.
It's okay, boy.
Looking for options. Nice physical defense downfield from Yonkers, shutting them down, so he's forced to go backwards to Becquet. Back to Espida. Fakes the hammer. Puts hearts in mouths across the continent. Becky waiting. Soul count getting higher. Still hasn't looked dumb.
See, this is why I wasn't so sure about that timeout called by Espida. Now they're in a short field, but you're allowing the defense to set up and clamp down, and that's what Freezzzbeezzz have been able to do so far. This is a powerful defensive lineup, and so far, there's been no upfield options yet for Tchac.
And Bosse trying to get free on Dumoulin now, and he does, but that's a big part down to the throw. Sokolski, back to Espida. Espida sends it in with a lot of zip on it. Becky has it. Slightly less showy hammer fake, and then Sokolski has Espida directly in front of him, but throws it a bit too far ahead, and a momentary lapse in concentration costs them possession, opening the door once again for a Freezzzbeezzz break.
That was a lapse in concentration, but I have to say, got to give some credit to that Freezzzbeezzz defense. They were tenacious, blocking all the throws, putting a lot of pressure as they're sending it deep to Yonkers. And they take the lead, Larkin.
No, they haven't. They're calling him. He's not in. So now Yonkers working in isolation. 1v1. A slight delay, and there's the lead, Ravi.
Oh
Huge.
My God, 13-12. They have never led up until this point. Up until this point. Shades of their semifinal, Lorcan, although they're doing it a point early here.
Maybe they're doing it a splash too early, Ravi.
Splash too early.
Just a smidge.
Now
we'll have to wait and see.
Here, Lorcan, do you throw out another power line or save them for Universe?
I think here, you save them for Universe. You give your original 7 who delivered you 2 out of 3 of your breaks. Go let them try and win the game for you, because they're going to be with you in Worlds.
Well, they seem to be doing exactly what you've said, that traditional D-line out there, saving their offensive players in case they have to go to Universe. Things are getting hot here, Lorcan. Things are getting heated.
And you can see out there on the line, Derek, marshalling them. Yonkers hyping them up. What this means to them. The crowd.
Just quickly, before we get into this point, Lorcan, I want to say this tournament has shown how close the parity of European Ultimate is. There have been so many double game point games here, Lorcan. Both semifinals, this one coming down to the wire, and before that, also Chevron winning a few games on Universe against the likes of Ragnarok, other teams. The field is wide open in Europe right now in the fight for second place. If Clapham were here, they just win.
Yeah, I mean, unfortunately, that does feel a little bit like it. But right now, we're getting to watch a fantastic battle between the best of the French against the best of the Belgians. Tchac going to pick up the disc. And that's Gallo. Puts it into the middle. The waiting hands of Becky. Thinks about the deep shot, decides against it. He has Gallo, but instead puts it across to Sokolski. Bosse's going deep. Huge open space directly in front of Sokolski, waiting for somebody to fill it. Bosse obliges. Has a shot to the end zone, decides against it. It wasn't the most secure. Gallo just points, says, give it to me. They're giving me this much space. I'm going to use it. Smooth back. Gallo to Becky. And Becky's going to float that one out in front of Bosse. He's just going to chase it down and comfortably score, removing Desme from any relevance.
And we are going to Universe point. It's all coming down to this, Lorcan. I'm guessing we're going to get the best of Tchac out there against the best of Freezzzbeezzz. This is going to be an epic point. Who do you favor right now?
I'm going to have to stick with my call. As much as I want to go with the homegrown heroes, I want Boris van der Lok, who's been an absolute angel to us and has organized this fantastic tournament. I want them to get this win. There's nothing better than winning your own tournament in front of your home fans. I've got to experience that before. It's absolutely fantastic. But, as I said on Eurozone, as we both said, Tchac are going to win.
Tchac are going to win. They didn't win the showcase game last night, but showing here, winning when it counts. Maybe. It's not over yet, but I think that the thing is, they're going to throw out a huge, powerful line here, and the Freezzzbeezzz O-line hasn't seen that pressure yet. It's going to be a new thing to deal with. We'll have to see what's going on. We see all the best players, the Yonkers, Peter Jan de Molinara, Jonas de Vela, lots of amazing players for Freezzzbeezzz. On Tchac's side, we see Becker, we see Bosser, we see Merlin Wolost. We do not see Bichon. Interesting. I think if they wanted to just win this game, they would put him out there, but maybe since he's not coming to Worlds, they want to show that they can win without him here. And now, last point of the tournament, Lorcan. Let's get started.
Tavale gets the disc, pressure mounting, but he wears it well. Yonkers, middle of the pitch, the young man, the younger brother, throws it to his family member. Yonkers, Raf with the disc and pops it back to Benjamin. And they're just taking their time, creating the space. And there's Peter Jan de Molinara, the man who they follow into hell and right now trying to lead them to heaven. Tavale with the disc. He has Descan. Descan juking and jiving against Sokolski. Sokolski, like a statue, doesn't move. And they're forced to go backwards. Descan waiting. patiently. Davale providing him with an outlet. Who launches it deep? There's no patience from him. Yonkers going for the win!
Oh!
And it bounces out of his fingertips. Peke putting him under just enough pressure. You gotta wonder about that throw.
I thought Yonkers had it.
I thought Yonkers had it, but it would have been a rescue.
No, but this is how Freezzzbeezzz have scored many, many points. They win battles in the air. That's their play, and I trust Yonkers with that throw. It was well placed. Becker was there with pressure. Anyways, you're right to question it. It was a turnover, but
and now you can feel the clap. You can feel the voices rise. Belgian screaming defense. As walking slowly, pensively to the front of his own end zone, Roble.
Side stack here with Olas isolated.
Gets it to Becky straight away. Goulet. Olas, that's out in front of him. He's able to collect it. For a moment, I thought maybe he couldn't. Goulet's actually got a bit of separation, but they go instead to Sokolski. Able to take it down, a big layout bid, but always behind him. Sometimes you think you just put on the force. That one, an errant pass behind the intended receiver, Clement Gelot. So Freezzzbeezzz get to go again.
Interesting, before on this point, Gelot on the first possession, Gelot was marking Beaucaire. They have now switched. Gelot was marching Pitoyan. They've now switched, and they've gotten that back. They're putting Gelot on Pitoyan instead of Beaucaire. Interesting strategy.
And there's a huge throw from De Molinere. You said this is how they've been winning all day, and it's how they win the weekend. Yonkers with the score, Freezzzbeezzz with the victory, and Bruges will be dancing tonight.
I cannot believe it. Look at the crowd, all the friends, all the family, everyone from Bruges storming the field as Yonkers collects it to win Tom's Tourney 2018. First time in the final since 1992. What a game, Lorcan.
What a tournament. Congratulations to Freezzzbeezzz getting their just desserts. You can see how Tchac left it all out there on the pitch, collapsing from exhaustion, but certainly pride still in their hearts after that performance. There is a litany of locals following around that Freezzzbeezzz team. A lot of them junior players.
This is the second big tournament where you and I have commentated on a final where the hometown heroes won. We commentated the Windmill Mixed final last year. Maybe we're some kind of good luck. Because, so if you're going to run a tournament and you want to win your final, hire me and Lorcan to come do the commentary. I'm just saying.
The first tournament I ever commentated on was Siege of Limerick, and I commentated on Pelt, the Limerick team, losing horrifically in that final.
Well, that'll do it for Tom's Tourney 2018. Again, if you love this, please get subscribed to fanseat.com. They've been here doing an awesome job all weekend bringing you all these games. And if you liked me and Lorcan's voices, check out Eurozone. Ultiworld.com/Eurozone, our podcast on European Ultimate. Will surely have an episode covering this tournament, talking about everything that went down. But that'll do it for this year. I've been Ravi Vasudevan.
I've been Lorcan Murray. We've also been joined by the wonderful talents of Hannah Pendlebury and Liam Grant here in the commentary booth, bringing you the women's final. Remember, video on demand with fanseat.com. Thank you for joining us, and we look forward to seeing you again later in the season.
Everybody's got a child, every child running wild. Take a pill and try to escape, try to float out of here and try to drift into space. I don't know who I am, who I am, I don't know.
TV.